Our today's seminar is Trade Facilitation and E-Trade. We have a bit, our chief guest is on the way. He's coming and he has consented to start the seminar session. Today, we have our honorable speaker, keynote speaker from Taiwan, Dr. Eva Yuan Yu. She's senior research fellow from Institute of Information Industry, Taiwan. Then we have our moderator, Mr. Atiki Rabani, and we have our special guest, Professor Dr. Mukhtar Abdullah. He's CEO of proposed campus of Singapore University here. And with us, of course, we have our president, Mr. Ali Ashfaq of Bangladesh Computer Samiti. I request all these four personalities to take chair in the dais and to start the seminar. Please come on dais.
Our chief guest, I think her profile was displayed here, but if I may just, Dr. Eva Yuan Yue is a research fellow of Digital Service Innovation Institute, and as I was told, this institute was formed in 1979. It's one of the research institutes of the Institute for Information Industry in Taiwan. She's also Secretary General of Digital Inform Transformation Association, founded for promoting ICT-based entrepreneurship and digital transformation in corporates by adopting digital technologies and for innovative ICT services. For the past 10 years, Dr. Yue has led several teams functioning as project management office. Subjects cover knowledge-based business services outsourcing, IT service management, manufacturing services, innovation use of ICT in manufacturing and service sectors. She's now leading a team promoting Star Audit in Taiwan and the ANP region, which is a third-party certification scheme for ensuring IT security, data privacy, and availability of clouds with a key concept of total trust. The aim is to establish a trustworthy environment for the cloud computing and service industry. She's also managing a project advocating applications of IoT innovative services for smart retail in commercial districts of Taiwan, which is viewed as part of a smart city development. She received PhD from Nottingham Trent University, UK 99. So without much ado, can I request you to start here? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Good evening, or it's too late to be good afternoon, right? Sorry for keeping you waiting for so long. And let's start. Today's subject has to do with the trade facilitation and e-trade. And that's the subject given by Ali. Because since you are now promoting digital agenda in Bangladesh, so trade facilitation is one of the driving force for moving forward after being digitalized in trade environments. So this is a really very important subject for Bangladesh now and in the future. So what is trade facilitation? There are several definitions. And I have to tell you that before we start, we had a short conversation with this young man who is so brilliant, right? Ashan Habib. Yeah. So if you are interested in exchanging name cards with him, because his business has to do with trade facilitation using ICT. So for WTO, trade facilitation is simplification, harmonization in international trade procedures. Of course, the local trade can be facilitated, especially for import, because when we import things from abroad, government need to levy the duty, lots of inspections, lots of quarantines, and lots of logistics things to be carried out. So much more complex than the local trade. So we need to have the procedures to be streamlined, to be simplified, the data to be standardized, so that two parties can exchange information, can exchange data through all this platform, through all this ICT infrastructure to speed up the process. So the WTO, they emphasize simplification and harmonization. And also, for the sake of simplified procedure, for the activities, practices, and the formalities involved in collecting, presenting, communicating, and processing data. So data is the key. So how to exchange data is the back-end concept. But for UNCFACT, this organization is a division in UNECE, European ECE, European Committee, no, what is that? European Commission for Economics. So the UNECE is one of the functions in trade division in UNECE, UNCFACT. So this major function is to standardize, to develop lots of recommendations and guidelines and standards for data exchange for the cross-border trading and e-commerce, e-business. So they emphasize not only simplification, harmonization, and they also emphasize standardization of procedures, the business process between cross-border trading, and also the associated information flow to be required to move goods from seller to buyers. So these are the key words: simplification, standardization, and harmonization for both procedure and business process and data. For World Bank, they have so many definitions, but they also emphasize trading across borders. Taking an example from Taiwan, customs declaration is a typical example for last mile service provided by the government, because they need intergovernmental agencies collaboration and integration in order to provide the last mile services to the shippers, to the sellers, to the buyers, for both imports and exports. So also, customs declaration is also the crucial means for collecting duties for the sovereignty. So it is very, very important for a nation. And you can see it is very complex, not just B2G, but also G2G, because it is cross-border. Now the stakeholders are so many: custom broker, carrier, warehouse operator, forwarder, and license application agencies like country of origin. So many different players from the private sector providing different services, shooting for declaration through the customs. But there are many also agencies from the public sector for trading, for transportation, and for customs. So in Taiwan, we have normally two gateways. One is for maritimes. Of course, maritimes is for sea freight. We have air freight, but air freight is pretty much independent because we have IATA, right? So air freight has been internationalized, although maritime, although we have organization of maritime, but it is not so powerful than the IATA. So normally in a country, they have their own marine administration network. And for customs, as I just said, customs declaration or clearance has to do with trading, transportation, and customs. In Taiwan, the trading and the customs declaration or clearance has been fully integrated in one system that has been developed by the customs authority for the trading authority, which is Bureau of Foreign Trade. So we now only have 2 gateways integrated together in the single window. The single window has been developed for 5 years. Before single window implemented, we have 2 separately operated gateways. And more than 20 governmental agencies getting involved in the public sector for cross-checking, for departmental data exchange. So you can see this is complex. But talking about simplification, harmonization, and standardization, how can we conduct these 3 things within so many different stakeholders? That's the essence of trade facilitation. This is so-called national single window in Taiwan. From the service, you can see that we have some core modules supporting declaration, or from public side, supporting clearance for the customs. Payment, B2G. One thing I need to emphasize, the national single window, we have a multiple channel, web-based for SMEs, or for individual passengers, or for individual micro business. But we have a turnkey system for server-to-server data exchange. So you can see the web-based application services for lots of permissions, licenses, etc. Query services for tracking the progress of the pipeline, and so on. And we have data verification service, that is G2G, because different government agencies need to cross-check in order to issue the permit to the sellers or to the buyers. So there are so many services to be operated through applications. This is the key of customs, ports, and trade. So it is a single window. But customs,
can I just stop for a moment?
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm getting some phone calls because I have to leave. Can I request our past BCS President, Iqbal Bhai, to kindly moderate the session? Sorry for the interruption.
No problem.
Ashfaq, is that all right? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah. The customs, they have their own internal process to be automated, to be streamlined. So you can see the AEO, the authorized economic operator, and the cargo movement security, modernization of inspection technology, etc. These are part of the customs functions. So many different services to be provided by the customs itself. And so many governmental agencies to be integrated. Some systems may be loosely coupled, but some systems need to be tightly integrated in order to do cross-checking in a so-called real time. So you can imagine why trade procedure need to be facilitated, because without facilitation, it is so cumbersome to do the declaration or clearance for customs. So this is the typical service to show the essence of trade facilitation. If you are interested in, you can refer to the presentation later on, and we can have some discussion if you are interested in. So how many things we need to do in order to facilitate the trade procedure? First of all, we need to follow the so-called international standard. WCO, World Customs Organization, they developed so-called data model 3.0. We adopted that model 6 years ago, 5 to 6 years ago, when this model hasn't been fully finalized yet. So you can imagine how much headache we have encountered by introducing not yet finalized data model, but we could not stop, we have to go. So this is our basic reference to refer to. And also, we need to review the international trade for B2G, G2G processes from Taiwanese perspective. By the way, III was the project office for National Single Window Development. So, and also, the team need to also listen to the voice from the private sector. National Single Window is not fully free. So they complained about change the system. So the customs need to listen to the complaints, the voice, suggestions, comments, etc. That was very time-consuming, very tedious consultation, lots of communication. And also, for streamlining the process between different governmental agencies. So the communication has been done and taking iterative step through all this process, back and forth, very in many systems. And also, we need to automate all relevant artifacts and promote new spec by incentive measures. So the customs gave out the turnkey system free to the forwarders, to the brokers, encourages them to connect to the national single window. But apart from this free turnkey system, they need to pay to the van for messaging. So these are so many things, taking only a few to show you how many things we need to do in order to facilitate. So as a result, WCO data model version 3.0 was the major source, and we also referred to UNCFACT core component organized for 59 messages. So messages taking the data and do the exchange and do the data submission. So totally 490 data elements. We mapped only 322 to WCO data model, as well as core component 10A version of UNCFACT. We have also local need data elements. That is only for Taiwanese customs declaration. So lots of explanation or local data sets. So it is quite normal, because we checked with Australian national single window data elements. Their local elements is more than 34, about 40 to 60. Ours is 65 to 34. So these things, the initial fundamental things, we spent more than 2 years to do these fundamental things first, and then import national single window, the second followed. By now, until last year, the national single window fully operated for both import and exports, taking so long to do these things. One more example is to show you how to simplify the procedure, how to simplify the process. For import cargo clearance process from a customs point of view, we actually developed so-called C1, C2, C3 procedure. C1 is fast-tracking procedure. If there's no more concern on this shipment, on this delivery, customs will push this shipment only for duty collection. Then the deliveries can be collected from the warehouse, go through this factory or the shops. But for C3, they need to go through the examination for what kind of a duty need to be collected, what kind of shipment they need to maybe inspect, or to go through the quarantine process, etc. So it is very famous and reputable for Taiwanese customs to develop this C1 and C2. So it is streamlined so-called procedure. So many challenges. I don't go through this into details. You can refer. One challenge we met, you cannot imagine, but we did have this problem, because not all governmental agencies referred to international standard. But UNCFACT, if you refer to UNCFACT library, there have been so many recommendations and standards developed, and guidelines for explaining the recommendations in the library. So the most cleverest thing is to refer, simply adopt the recommendation and standard. and do your own work. But for Taiwanese companies or governments, because international recommendation and standard developed very slowly. For some time, we have to push things realized. So we have to develop our own data model, our own procedure, and that costs trouble. So the time lag costs trouble. You may encounter this kind of situation also. This is the truth. This is the fact. And also, so the most difficult thing is to keep things transparent. The more transparent, the less corruption. But for some organizations, they are reluctant to be transparent. So that is the obstacle. And inadequate procedure, lack of audit-based control for risk assessment techniques. So these are some things we encountered, and we conquered to a certain extent. But I don't think we are 100% perfect. The UN recommendation from 4, 18, 33, 34, 35, 36, 40, 41, 42. So many have to do with trade facilitation. And if you have time, you're welcome to refer. Everything is in the library. For example, single window recommendation, data simplification standardization, establish a legal framework. This is very crucial. And this young man can appreciate that, right? The legal framework, single window interoperability, etc. The steps recommended by UNCFACT, taking step by step from fundamental to more sophisticated way of doing things. But the fundamental skills is to analyze business process. Only after you analyze your business process involved in the pipeline, you know how to simplify that, what to harmonize. So this is the fundamental skills. And I would highly recommend some of you, if your job has to do with trade facilitation, UNSCAP is in our Asian region. UNSCAP, they developed trade, transport, facilitation, monitoring mechanism framework. So TTFMM framework is very useful for players in different aspects. And they developed the methodology for analyze the efficiency and effectiveness. For example, if you take Bangladesh customs declaration process, you can divide into several chunks of operation. If you can analyze the so-called time, cost, distance, you know how efficient your customs declaration is. From the port to the warehouse, from the inspection area to the warehouse, there's some distance. Maybe only 1 100 meters, it takes 3 days, right? So 3 days time spent on dealing with documentations, that's very costly. So you can refer to the methodology provided by EXPO in the TTFMM framework. You can analyze that. And also, how fast can a shipment being collected and being released to the shipper, to the receiver, to the consignee? Because sometimes you may encounter this situation. You know that the documentation has been proved, but the delivery takes 2 days more to be delivered by the logistics provider to your company. So time release study is also crucial. So this is very good tools for us to analyze things. Actually, Bangladesh is one of countries already, I was told, already gone through some kind of pilot project familiarizing this methodology. So you may check with your authority concerned to see who has been gone through this procedure. So these are some references I would think useful. For example, the UNECE's Trade Facilitation Roadmap and national trade facilitation bodies. Each country needs to have some kind of a body or steering committee to take the lead, to supervise, to monitor, to support the whole procedure of trade facilitation. Otherwise, there's no leadership. And WTO's trade facilitation agreement was just taken effective. More than 100 countries have already signed and submitted their trade facilitation agreement to WTO. So it is said that more than 2/3 countries first, and then import, national single window, the second followed. By now, until last year, the national single window fully operated for both import and exports, taking so long to do these things. One more example is to show you how to simplify the procedure, how to simplify the process. For import cargo clearance process from a customs point of view, we actually developed so-called C1, C2, C3 procedure. C1 is fast-tracking procedure. If there's no more concern on this shipment, on this delivery, customs will push this shipment only for duty collection. Then the deliveries can be collected from the warehouse, go through this factory or the shops. But for C3, they need to go through the examination for what kind of a duty need to be collected, what kind of shipment they need to maybe inspect or to go through the quarantine process, etc. So it is very famous and reputable for Taiwanese customs to develop this C1 and C2. So it is streamlined so-called procedure. So many challenges. I don't go through this into details. You can refer. One challenge we met, you cannot be imagine, but we did have this problem, because not all governmental agencies referred to international standard. But UN CFAC, if you refer to UN CFAC library, there have been so many recommendations and standards developed, and guidelines for explaining the recommendations in the library. So the most cleverest thing is to refer, simply adopt the recommendation and standard and do your own work. But for Taiwanese companies or governments, because international recommendation and standard developed very slowly. For some time, we have to push things realized. So we have to develop our own data model, our own procedure, and that costs trouble. So the time lag costs trouble. You may encounter this kind of situation also. This is the truth. This is the fact. And also, so the most difficult thing is to keep things transparent. The more transparent, the less corruption. But for some organizations, they are reluctant to be transparent. So that is the obstacle. And inadequate procedure, lack of audit-based control for risk assessment techniques. So these are some things we encountered, and we conquered to a certain extent. But I don't think we are 100% perfect. The UN recommendation from 4, 18, 33, 34, 35, 36, 40, 41, 42. So many have to do with trade facilitation. And if you have time, you're welcome to refer. Everything is in the library. For example, single window recommendation, data simplification standardization, establish a legal framework. This is very crucial. And this young man can appreciate that, right? The legal framework, single window interoperability, etc. The steps recommended by UN CFAC, taking step by step from fundamental to more sophisticated way of doing things. But the fundamental skills is to analyze business process. Only after you analyze your business process involved in the pipeline, you'll know how to simplify that, what to harmonize. So this is the fundamental skills. And I would highly recommend some of you, if your job has to do with trade facilitation, UN EXPO is in our Asian region. UN EXPO, they developed trade, transport, facilitation, monitoring mechanism framework. So TTFMM framework is very useful for players in different aspects. And they developed the methodology for analyze the efficiency and effectiveness. For example, if you take Bangladesh customs declaration process, you can divide into several chunks of operation. If you can analyze the so-called time, cost, distance, you know how efficient your customs declaration is. From the port to the warehouse, from the inspection area to the warehouse, there's some distance. Maybe only 100 meters, it takes 3 days, right? So 3 days time spent on dealing with documentations, that's very costly. So you can refer to the methodology provided by EXPO in the TTFMM framework. You can analyze that. And also, how fast can a shipment being collected and being released to the shipper, to the receiver, to the consignee. Because sometimes you may encounter this situation. You know that the documentation has been proved, but the delivery takes 2 days more to be delivered by the logistics provider to your company. So time release study is also crucial. So this is very good tools for us to analyze things. Actually, Bangladesh is one of the countries already, I was told, already gone through some kind of pilot project familiarizing this methodology. So you may check with your authority concerned to see who has been gone through this procedure. So these are some references I would think useful. For example, the UECE's Trade Facilitation Roadmap and national trade facilitation bodies. Each country needs to have some kind of a body or steering committee to take the lead, to supervise, to monitor, to support the whole procedure of trade facilitation. Otherwise, there's no leadership. And WTO's trade facilitation agreement was just taken effective. More than 100 countries have already signed and submitted their trade facilitation agreement to WTO. So it is said that more than 2/3 countries submitted the WTO effective. So trade facilitation has to do with the customs, related authorized agencies, and authorized agencies for import, export, etc. But what is the concern in trade facilitation? The legal transparency, simplification on trade procedure and administration fee, transition freedom, measures of customs collection. So you can see these are the key in the scope of a trade facilitation agreement signed between members of the WTO, then two parties from two countries need to obey, follow up the contents of TFA so that the cross-border trading can be carried out in an ordering way. Less a chance to create disputes between each other. So let's move faster. Eh? And there are some recommendations also for TFA. You can refer. Let's introduce a little bit to UNCFACT. From UNCFACT activities, you know what this organization is about. For example, paperless trade, core principle of a single window, single submission portal. That has been promoted from Alibaba in this 1 year, because Alibaba has become a multifunctional giant in cross-border trade, not just for e-commerce, but also for e-business. So they are ambitious enough to develop a world trade framework for data exchange, for process integration. But whether we want to follow Alibaba's rule or not, it's a question. Because many countries are kind of skeptical to follow. But in any case, if Alibaba can take lead in this respect, of course, lots of comments, opinions need to be collected from abroad the world, from the experts. They cannot be purely dominating in standardization, need to be coordinated and communicated throughout the world. So it doesn't matter whether Alibaba can dominate or not, because it is not possible. But they propose their basic idea. That is, that can save much time to develop standard. So it comes to e-trade. What is e-trade? From eBay's publication, it says that exporters using e-trade outperform traditional exporters, especially for SME. We can appreciate this argument, right? So whoever using ICT technology, whoever using very effective ICT platform, doing their business for both import and export, should be able to have a more effective way of doing things. So the digital trade or e-trade, because Americans tend to use the term digital trade, but WTO tend to use the term of e-trade. I will show you later on. The digital trade is good for speeding up the movement of goods and enabling SMEs to participate in the global trade. Cross-border information flow should be further streamlined and ensured in the digital trade. Emphasizing on the trust between trading partners by providing returns and reverse logistics, as well as payment refund mechanism, because it is more easy to have online disputes between two parties, buyer and seller, than traditional way of trading, because they may not know each other. So they may not sign the deal because it is through platform operators. So there's more, it is more vulnerable for both sides to have some argument or disputes. So the trust is crucial for both sides. And also consumer need to be protected for possible individual online dispute. This is for B2C, right? And also, of course, we all agree that SME, the bottom line, the entry barrier is much low for SME to do the online trading across the border. So what is so-called e-trade or digital trade? There's a good reference you may refer later on. A policy framework for two types of e-trade submitted by Marcus Buckley Jones. I think this is very clear conceptually. We have goods and services to go abroad. But what is e-commerce and what is digital trade? The concept is a little bit different. We are more familiar with e-commerce for trading goods, right? Alibaba have loaded on so many merchandise on their platform to be exchanged, to be traded outside of China through e-commerce, through internet. So we are familiar with eBay, Amazon, Alibaba, etc. For service can be traded also through internet. What is that? E-banking, business process outsourcing, or knowledge process outsourcing, or consulting business, or even interpretation, translation, right? Or even providing graphic design or something like that. These are services can be exchanged, traded through internet. This is basically e-commerce. But what is digital trade? Digital trade, we can see the App Store, the YouTube, the 3D printed goods. The concept is different, right? It is not just through internet. The goods, intangible goods, can be traded, and it is embedded in the platform. We cannot separate, for example, e-medicine, PayPal, IT outsourcing, Amazon Web Services. This is the so-called platform as a service or infrastructure as a service. Completely mingle the service with the platform itself, the backend system, the facility, cloud-related services. So this is digitalized trade for service. So the internet acts as a low-cost platform among actors like individual contractors, whereas the digital trade, this is the area where the trade itself is happening through digital channels and where the goods and services concerned are embedded in digital form. So I think, personally, I would think this four-quadrant interpretation is quite clear. So each environment, we have three layers. One is, of course, the infrastructure. Sorry. Huh? Oh, here. Yeah. Of course, the infrastructure for digital connectivity, not just internet, but maybe IoT, sensor network, right? Mobile network. So it's much more complicated. And then the enabling conditions, the skills, entrepreneurship, law and regulation for cross-border legal compliance, and also logistics and trade facilitation. Even e-commerce still need to be facilitated, still need to be streamlined, because for tangible goods, customs still need to be cleared. For service, some kind of taxation or some kind of what is that? The taxation for service and the goods. So local, the sovereignty still need to collect taxation, no matter what is the duty or tariff, right? So logistics for both service and goods still need to be streamlined and standardized. But each level and data management, because e-trade has to do with data. This data is generated in a much more complex environment than traditional trade. So at each level, different policies and regulations are relevant, as are financing and technical needs facilitated by development organizations like the World Bank. So the national and international policy implications, what are they? For e-commerce, where goods and services trade facilitated by the internet. For example, for goods, the critical issue is how to facilitate the trading procedure, how to simplify, how to standardize. So tools used by sellers and buyers normally through web platform to engage in online retailing or trading. But for service, trading through internet, the critical issue is how to protect the consumer, how to protect the buyers, and how to facilitate them to access easily to the internet. As far as digital trade is concerned, where goods and services traded in digital form, the critical issues are how efficiently the government policies can enable cross-border flow of data. And also the free flow of data and maintaining the privacy protection. WTO, in their e-trade negotiation, hasn't been published yet, but I was told that in WTO, they put the free flow of data and the privacy protection in top priority. The enabler is still basic internet connectivity. Without internet connectivity, nothing can happen. Not even the IoT sensor network, because IoT sensor network still need to be connected to the internet. So it is still fundamental things. And needed actions is to how to strengthen the trade facilitation, streamline the non-tariff measures, etc. So the implications for nation, for the sovereignty, some kind of some kind of national trade policy need to be announced, need to be transparent enough for all stakeholders, know openly the trade procedure, the needed documentation, etc. Private sectors often complaints are they don't know exactly what documentation need, because the authorities changes documentation requirement frequently without notification, without announcement. So people go to the window for applying for some documents without needed evidence, without needed proof. So they go there several times, cannot finish one task. So the transparency is very important. The nation, the organization concerned, or the steering committee need to identify first what is the most important type of e-trade this nation want to go for first, because resources limited. For international implications, meaning what kind of rule do we as a nation want to negotiate with our counterpart? What is, which nations we want to negotiate first? For what subjects? Because in WTO multilateral relationship, WTO is mostly for multilateral, not bilateral. But you may need to prioritize the order. So the issues having to do with e-trade, that is how e-trade can foster inclusion. Because e-trade is the best thing for SME in developing country, because the entry barrier is so low. Almost everyone can go into this playground to do something. So it is very encouraging for startups to go into the e-commerce for cross-border trading. But regulation is also crucial. Governments, if they announce some kind of rules or regulation, that regulation cannot be against the common practice in the private sector. Otherwise, they will create distortions to the private sector. For cross-border procedure, especially for cross-border e-commerce, for small goods or for low-value shipment, if we still obey or follow the traditional trading, that is dead end, no hope at all. So the import, especially import declaration process, need to be simplified from the traditional trading procedure. Otherwise, only for maybe one small bag purchased from India or from US takes the consumer 7 days or 2 weeks. It's not possible to do e-commerce. So how to simplify that? Taking the maybe several more minutes, I'd like to introduce you a regional community which is called AFACT. Because AFACT is important in this region to collaborate with UNCFACT to streamline, to standardize, to harmonize the documentation and procedure for trade facilitation. It was established in 1990, almost 27 years ago. Bangladesh, we were glad that Bangladesh just joined AFAC family last year. So thanks to Ali Ashfaq. He is a very, very pioneer. Yeah. So you can see that totally we have 20 member states or economies, including Bangladesh. And this regional community liaised with UNCFACT in UNECE. Because UNECE, like UNESCAP, UNESCAP in Asia and Pacific, UNECE in Europe, UNCFACT has been mandated by United Nations to do the standardization thing for trade facilitation and e-business. So it is you can see how important UNCFACT is, and AFAC is liaised with the UNCFACT by doing that promotion. And we have also PAA as our associate members. And also UNESCAP is one of the liaison member also. And Ali Ashfaq is 2018 chair of AFAC because the chairmanship takes turn each year. 2017, Chinese Taipei, we host AFAC meetings back to back with AFAC, with the WTO, with WITSA, with the WCIT 2017. And so these are the steering committee members composition. And you can see that the major activities in AFAC, we normally have midterm steering committee meeting together with the working group meeting, annual plenary meetings, and at least twice face-to-face meeting for working groups. And we have biannual E-Asia Award, which is in 2017. We have E-Asia Award. And biannual AFAC yearbook. We will publish the yearbook next year. So currently, we have 2 working groups under business domain committee. One has to do with tourism, travel, and leisure. The other is cross-border e-commerce. I'm the current chair for this working group. We used to have cross-border, we are going to have these subjects. So you all are encouraged to take part in this subject. We may not have working group, but we can have this subject to be discussed in AFAC community for cross-border, for cross-industry e-invoice. Yeah, this is very important because using e-invoice, we can make more efficient online remittance for cross-border trading. And we have technology and methodology committee, and cloud computing is one of the subjects to be discussed, and many other things. This working group, this committee tend to develop different kinds of guidelines for UNCFAC standard. Easy to comprehend the complex standard or recommendation. Community support committee is currently led by me. This CSC committee is mandated to support TMC and BDC to do many things. For example, survey, training, and supports the website of AFAC. And we have a permanent secretariat based in Iran. I have to congratulate to Bangladesh because I was so impressed that through Ali Ashfaq's efforts, you proposed totally 9 projects for 2017 AE Asia Award contest. And luckily, you are fully recognized for the best practice of at least 3 projects. We have 4 categories. First one is trade facilitation in cross-border e-commerce, and postal cash card, banking for the unbanked people, won the prize. And the second category has to do with open digital government, and Haji Management Information System won the prize. The third one is data-driven value. Unfortunately, you didn't have any projects. But the fourth, creating inclusive digital opportunities, National Intra-Network Project for Bangladesh Government, Info Saka, won the prize. Yeah, very, very good. To be honest, I was surprised. All these projects are complex enough, sophisticated enough, involving many different governmental agencies. That is not easy at all, but you did that. Yeah, very good. And we have token transferred ceremony in September. So Dr. Gary handed the token to Mr. Ashfaq. Yeah, so all these specialists and experts from Bangladesh witnessed this ceremony. So we appreciated this very much.
Excuse me, again a bit interruption. Today's chief guest, Honorable Secretary, Ministry of Commerce, just arrived. I request him to take seat in this dais.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Sorry.
Yeah, because we respect very much our leaders from Bangladesh's Ministry of Commerce. So I'd like to take a little bit more time to go through very quickly some important slides. And you might remind yourself, right? Sorry. Yeah. So how do I do that? Could you, yes, yeah, go to the slides library so that we can choose several. As these are the last second slides, I'd like to suggest to you all to consider that you need to support Bangladesh Computer Summit because they are going to host 2018 AFACT plenaries in your country. Many overseas experts are coming to Bangladesh to discuss on many important subjects for trade facilitation and e-business. As I said, for cross-border e-commerce, for travel and tourism and leisure. Bangladesh has so many good scenic sites, so you want to also promote your tourism industry. So it should be crucial for you to also participate in the TTL working group, and also cross-border, cross-industry e-invoice. Many things are of use and of value for you if you really want to pursue digital agenda of Bangladesh. So let's go back to the e-trade, please. Yeah, okay. So as I just explained, if we want to promote e-trade, there are two concepts. One has to do with the e-commerce. The other is digital trade. There are some difference between each other. And we want to exchange goods and services from our country to abroad. The service is intangible product, can be traded through internet. This is e-commerce. For example, as I said, we can offer translation service. We can offer graphic design service, right? We can offer banking service. We can offer remote healthcare service through internet. These are e-commerce for service. But for digital trade, the intangible service mingled with the internet, embedded in the electronic channel completely. You cannot separate that. That is the concept of the digital trade. For example, the Amazon Web Services, the AWS, the SaaS, the platform as a service, the data center service, embedded in the channel. And also for YouTube or Amazon or something like that, the App Store, right? They are the product, they are software products, but can be delivered through the internet. But it is not the tangible goods like merchandise. It is software goods, the books, the e-books, the videotape, etc. So that is why the internet acts as a low-cost platform for advertising, exchanging information between buyer and seller, and enabling a more efficient allocation of tasks among actors, like individual contractors. But digital trade, the goods and services concerned are embedded in digital form. So it is even more intangible, more abstract. So as I said that there are three layers: fundamental infrastructure, the enabling conditions, very crucial in this layer, because this is the legal environment, human resource, and logistics and trade facilitation. These three are enabler for driving the data of goods and service in order to be better managed. So this is the whole environment, three layers. Each layer has its own issue, need respective policies from the government. Okay, and let's introduce a little bit effects once more. As I said that effect is liaised with the UNCFACT. And UNCFACT is the only organization in United Nations to be mandated to develop recommendation, standard, guidelines for trade facilitation. So it is a very important organization. And we promote the standard and recommendation developed by UNCFACT in this region. For example, about 15 years ago, Taiwan Gulf Customs collaborated heavily with the Malaysian Customs, Mambu, to exchange data using messages developed by UNCFACT 15 years ago, using Edifact, UN Edifact, which is not XML-based standard. But that long ago, we do the bilateral interoperability testing to ensure that cross-border procedures and data can be integrated and data can be exchanged, document can be exchanged. And we exchange country of origin country of origin document case of animal quarantine. So you can imagine with this permit, with this license, with this documentation to be exchanged between both sides, how fast can we improve? So this is the essence of trade facilitation. And AFACT is liaised with UNCFACT. We promote this kind of thing in this region. So that is the reason why AFACT is so important. And as I said, that Bangladesh has been the members of AFACT. And you are going to host 2018 AFACT meetings in your country. Many foreign experts will come to Bangladesh to witness your progress, to witness your ambitions in digital agenda. So I would encourage you all to participate in the working group discussion and to get familiar with the standard or recommendations. And many other standards maybe not necessarily developed by UNCFACT. As I said, WCO has also data formats, data model for trade facilitation. Yeah, so this is about the abstract. And you have very good leaders to be the chair of next year. And once again, we congratulate Bangladesh to won the prize for trade facilitation in e-commerce, open digital government, and creating inclusive digital opportunities. Yeah, so that would be the conclusion. E-trade facilitation is another measure, not just the trade facilitation. I was impressed by the slogan, "Make in Bangladesh." Make in Bangladesh. If you really want to pursue the goal of making things in Bangladesh, especially for ICT goods, it's another measure for enabling SME to join global e-commerce arena. Speed up small and low-value shipment customs declaration. It is also the objectives want to be fulfilled by digital agenda in Bangladesh. So I would strongly suggest you take advantage of UN Next, because UN Next provided many capacity building programs in their training roadshow. So you may apply the support from UN SBEP to send your next specialists or experts to come to your country to give capacity building training. Yeah, so you may get information from Bangladesh Computer Summit, and hopefully we can see you all next year. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies, lone lady, I see. I was much better over there as an among the audience, but feeling very shy to be here. I didn't know, I was much comfortable actually anyway. And the moderator left and suddenly the job was given to me. I am really undone anyway. Please forgive me for my mistakes and other things. I am not very sure about it. Actually, I happen to be the president of Bangladesh Computer Committee quite a long time before. Now spending a lot of my time abroad, while sitting there in the Bank of Andaman Sea, I often try to learn about the creation of universe or something like that, and it's very difficult, and often I get good sleep out of that. But what the excellent presentation was given here, and I am not really accustomed to any sort of trade or export or anything of like that, but I found it is not easy either. But anyway, very good presentation indeed, and I can congratulate you for this excellent presentation. Dr. Eva, sorry, forgive me for the name. Anyway, but very nice presentation, and the human mind is also very complex, and so many things, but I would love to see many of the trade across the border goes through your C1 lines so that you can be very successful in doing what you are doing. And it's a good thing that it's a collective body, otherwise everybody have to reinvent their own wheels, and which is a very cumbersome job. And I'm sure, but honestly speaking, starting in 1990, it's quite a long time now, 27 years almost. So you need to be, more aggressive what you are doing now with your leaderships and all these things. And if this can be done, this is a good thing. But if all the trade is done through the C3 top line, then all essence is gone, It will be a traditional one. So as much as you can pass through C1, that would be the main essence of doing your things. Anyway, with that word, I would like to have comments from Dr. Mukhtar Abdullah, Selangor University, Malaysia. If you please pass your comments and analysis, if anything. I think you have to do it within 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, that should be okay. Okay.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Moderator, and congratulations to Dr. Yue for giving a very excellent presentation on a very specialized topic, which I'm not familiar really. It's a very tough subject for me as well. I'm not going to give a lengthy comment on it because it's not my subject matter actually. But somehow maybe several questions that I need to have some clarification from Dr. Yue. And based on the presentation, I can pick up some of the points involving TF, trade facilitation and e-trade here. And it involves some frameworks and also procedures that need to be understood by the target group, like business community, SMEs, especially in this country, in Bangladesh, because in order to maximize the profit, the benefit of having this approach or frameworks, a very good understanding need to be assured, and of course this requires some kind of training for the target group. And I just saw one agency that is involved in giving training, right? And the awareness on this got to be enhanced among the target group. Otherwise, it will be a meaningless effort. It's such a meaningful initiative and also agenda, especially for the country. And another issue that I'm a little bit curious, because the framework or this e-trade facilitation, is it? And e-trade itself, the gist or the essence of it is it's digital, through digital platform, like e-commerce, okay, and digital trade, as you mentioned just now. And the issue is the premise behind it is about trust among the players, trust between buyers and sellers and so on. But what if misconducts, happen between the two parties? Who will be responsible for taking actions or legal, matters that can protect both parties? So these things, I think, maybe it's perhaps can be elaborated, because I think along the way there must be some misconduct or breach of trust between sellers and buyers, between traders and so on, especially when it involves, digital platform. So I hope this can be, addressed as well. So I think that's the only point that I want to raise. And again, thank you very much to you for excellent, the excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah, for your pertinent question. And the next, I would like to call Mr. A.N.M. Saiful Islam of High Tech Park to pass his remarks.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Eva for his nice presentation. Trade facilitation and e-trade. She on this seminar, she gave a clear-cut idea about the type of e-trade and e-trade environment, which is very important for the business. E-commerce is obvious, that I believe that e-commerce is obvious, because all the country is now connected. World is very much connected, and one businessman could be successful in within his territory, within his country. But if you want to expand his business to other country, he must come under use under one platform, that is one the Asian Pacific Council for Trade Facilitation for electronic business. That is important for Bangladesh. For business, national regulatory issues need to be very much aligned with the international one, and this effect is very important for us. And I am happy to know that Bangladesh has joined as a member of this important organization. And I hope it would be Bangladesh could use this organization, this opportunity to exploit the opportunity to expand our business in other country. Our role of our businessmen, that I think they have to come with the different problem challenges, and we could discuss, and government and public and private, both parties should use the forum effectively, and that would be helpful for our business. And I'm confident that our businessmen will do better, and they will expand their business from Bangladesh to others, like Alibaba and others. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Islam, for your analysis. And I would like to take a few questions from the audience, but it has to be relevant with the topic, actually. And the keynote speaker reserves the right to answer or discard. It's up to her, you know. So please, if you have any question.
আমরা আইসিটি ই-কমার্স বিজনেসে যদি আসতে চাই, যারা নতুন এন্টারপ্রেনিয়র হিসেবে কাজ করতে চায়, তাদের জন্য বাংলাদেশ গভর্নমেন্ট এখন অনেক ফ্যাসিলিটি করে দিয়েছে। এবং যারা একেবারেই নতুন, যারা কিনা আইডিয়া বেস তাদের প্রোডাক্টটা আছে, তারা কিনা অন্য কোনো মানে লজিস্টিক সাপোর্টের জন্য তারা কিছু করতে পারতেছে না, তাদের জন্য আসলে এই মুহূর্তে কি করা আছে বা কি করণীয়, বা ফিনান্সিয়াল সাপোর্টটা কি ওইভাবে গভর্নমেন্ট থেকে বা অন্যভাবে কি পাওয়া সম্ভব কিনা, যেটা কিনা লজিস্টিকের জন্য যেটা করা সম্ভব হচ্ছে না তাদের?
আমি আপনার কোশ্চেনটা যদি বুঝে থাকি, আপনার ই বিজনেস করতে যেয়ে অথবা ই কমার্স করতে যেয়ে লজিস্টিকটা ফ্যাসিলিটেটেড হয় কিনা, এটা কি আপনার কোশ্চেন?
জি।
আচ্ছা, এখানে লজিস্টিক একটা অ্যানাদার পার্ট। লজিস্টিক তো সেপারেটলি হচ্ছে। আপনারা বোধহয় জানেন যে গভর্নমেন্টের একটা অর্গানাইজেশনও, পোস্ট অফিস, বাংলাদেশ পোস্ট অফিস, তারা এই লজিস্টিক ই বিজনেসের জন্য লজিস্টিক একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট পার্ট। ই কমার্স বলি আর ই বিজনেস বলি, যেটাই হোক, লোকাল বিজনেসের জন্য এবং ইন্টারন্যাশনাল বিজনেসের জন্যও। তো সেরকম একটা ফ্যাসিলিটিস বোধহয় আসছে, সস্তায় আপনারা ওটা পেতে পারবেন, এবং প্রাইভেট সেক্টর থেকেও এরকম তারা এই লজিস্টিকটা তৈরি করছে। এটা আছে, এটা ইম্প্রোভাইজেশন হবে, এটাই ই বিজনেস ডেভেলপমেন্টের জন্য একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট পার্ট।
সো এখানে আমি আর কেউ প্রশ্ন প্লিজ।
তো আমাদের দেশে একটা ইন্ডাস্ট্রি, আইটি ইন্ডাস্ট্রি করতে গেলে, যেখানে আমাদের বাইরে থেকে একটা কাজ নিতে গেলে যেমন আমাদের দেখাইতে হয় যে আমাদের 500 দক্ষ আইটি ইঞ্জিনিয়ার আছে, তাদেরকে নিয়ে আমরা ইন্ডাস্ট্রিটা করছি, আপনারা আমাদেরকে কাজ দেন। এখন আমাদের দেশে যেখানে আইটি ইন্ডাস্ট্রি করতে গেলে এরকম 2 থেকে 300 ইঞ্জিনিয়ার, মানে লিগ্যাল ইঞ্জিনিয়ার খুঁজে পাওয়া মুশকিল হয়ে যায়, সেখানে হাইটেক পার্ক করার জন্য এখানে আমরা এত ইঞ্জিনিয়ারের বিষয়টা আপনারা কিভাবে দেখেন?
আসলে আমার মনে হয় যে হাইটেক পার্কের কনসেপ্টটা বুঝতে একটু আরও আপনার কাছে ক্লিয়ার করা দরকার। আমি আরেকটু সবার অনেকেরই এরকম আর কি একটু ভ্রান্ত ধারণা থাকতে পারে যে হাইটেক পার্ক আমরা করছি, যে এটা শুধু সিভিল কাজকর্ম হচ্ছে, সিভিল ওয়ার্ক হবে এবং সেইখানে বিল্ডিং হবে, সেটাই হাইটেক পার্ক। আসলে কিন্তু কিছু সিভিল কাজকর্ম হবে এবং শুধু ইঞ্জিনিয়াররাই কাজ করবে, কিন্তু তা নয়। আমাদের হাইটেক পার্কে যেমন আইটি ইঞ্জিনিয়াররা কাজ করবে, সফটওয়্যার ইঞ্জিনিয়াররা কাজ করবে, তেমনি অন্যান্যরাও থাকতে পারে। আমরা হাইটেক বলতে আসলে এইভাবে সংজ্ঞায়িত করেছি আমাদের আইনে, যে ইন্ডাস্ট্রিগুলো যে ক্যাপিটাল ইন্টেন্সিভ এবং নলেজ বেসড এবং সেই সাথে এনভায়রনমেন্ট ফ্রেন্ডলি, সেই শিল্পগুলোকেই আমরা হাইটেক বলেছি। এর মধ্যে আসে আইটি, আইটিএস, ইলেকট্রনিক্স, বায়োটেক, R&D, গ্রিন টেকনোলজি, রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি, সব কিছু কিন্তু হাইটেক। তাহলে আমরা যে আমাদের যে শুধু ইঞ্জিনিয়ার লাগবে তা কিন্তু নয়, আমাদের কিন্তু বায়োটেক, যারা বায়োটেকনোলজিস্ট তাদেরও আমাদের হাইটেক পার্কে লাগবে। যারা সিইসি গ্র্যাজুয়েট বা সিইসি গ্র্যাজুয়েট না বা অন্য সাবজেক্ট থেকে এসছে, যে কোডিং শিখেছেন, তারাও কিন্তু হাইটেকে কাজ করতে পারবেন, সেইখানে বাধা নেই। তারপর আইটিএস আছে, সেইখানে বিপিও বিজনেস হতে পারে, আরও ব্যাক অফিস হতে পারে, বিভিন্ন ধরনের বিজনেস কিন্তু হতে পারে, এবং সেইখানে রিসার্চের সুযোগ আছে, R&Dর সুযোগ আছে। R&D কিন্তু সেইখানে একটা ডিজাইন করার জন্যে, একটা যে কোনো জিনিসের ডিজাইন করার জন্য সেটা ব্যবহার হতে পারে, সেটা বিমানেরও হতে পারে বা অন্য কোনো প্রোডাক্টেরও হতে পারে। তো শুধু ইঞ্জিনিয়ার লাগবে তা না, আমাদের হাইটেক পার্কে কিন্তু ইঞ্জিনিয়ারদের সাথে আরও অনেক বিভিন্ন স্তরের বিভিন্ন পেশার লোকজন প্রয়োজন হবে। কারণ হাইটেক পার্ক এমন একটা জায়গা যেখানে বিভিন্ন ধরনের ইন্ডাস্ট্রিগুলো এইখানে প্রতিষ্ঠিত হবে। শুধু আমাদের ইঞ্জিনিয়ার লাগবে তা কিন্তু নয়। তো আমার মনে হয় যে শুধু ইঞ্জিনিয়ার না, আমরা হাইটেক পার্ক থেকে আমাদের যে বিভিন্ন আইটি কোম্পানিগুলো বা বিপিও কোম্পানিগুলো বা অন্যান্য যারা আসবেন তাদের চাহিদা মতো তারা লোক বাছাই করে দিবে, আমরা তাদের প্রশিক্ষিত করব। প্রশিক্ষিত করে আমরা দক্ষ জনবল সরবরাহের বিষয়টি কিন্তু নিশ্চিত করব। ফলে আমাদের হাইটেক পার্কে যে দক্ষ লোকবলের অভাব পড়বে না। এটা আমরা আমাদের আর কি যে আমাদের পরিকল্পনার সাথে আমাদের যে কর্ম পরিকল্পনা আছে, যে আমাদের উদ্দেশ্য বাস্তবায়নের যে কর্ম পরিকল্পনা, তার সাথে কিন্তু এটা অ্যালাইন করা। আমরা দক্ষ লোকবল সরবরাহ নিশ্চিত করব। আমরা যাদের কিছু অভিজ্ঞতা আছে তাদের আমরা ট্রেন্ড আপ করে, তাদের স্কিল আপ করে সেইখানে আমরা নিয়োজনের ব্যবস্থা করব। ধন্যবাদ।
থ্যাংক ইউ। আসলে হাইটেক পার্ক সম্বন্ধে ওনারা তো সরাসরি চাকরি দেবেন না, ওনারা কোম্পানিগুলোকে এমনভাবে নারিশ করবেন, এমনভাবে রাখবেন যাতে ওইখানে ভালো অ্যাটমসফিয়ার থাকে, ভালোই হয়, উন্নত মানের যেসব ইন্ডাস্ট্রি সেগুলো ওখানে থাকবে এবং সেখানে যারা দক্ষ, যারা ভালো, তাদের জবের মানে চাকরির সংকুলান হবে হয়তো, আমরা নিশ্চয়ই সেটা আশা করতে পারি। থ্যাংক ইউ। এনি কোয়েশ্চেন? অ্যাকচুয়ালি যারা ট্রেড করেন, যারা এক জায়গা থেকে আরেক জায়গায় পাঠান, এক দেশ থেকে আরেক জায়গায় মালামাল পাঠান বা আনেন, তাদের আসলে এটা বেশি দরকার এবং তাদের মধ্যে থেকে প্রশ্নটা আসলে আরো বেশি ভালো হয়, যাতে কিনোট স্পিকার কথা বলতে পারেন। প্লিজ আপনার সামনে আপনি বলেন। জি বলেন।
Good presentation and presenting our government and business leaders and IT scholars. And the question I want to make our presenter that there is a lot of international and regional or IT organizations. Why effect is important for Bangladesh? How Bangladeshi government and private organizations can be benefited by effect? My question is to her. Thank you.
I've got two questions to reply. One's for you and the other is for Professor Abdullah. Why effect is important for Bangladesh? Because you have the digital agenda in Bangladesh. Digital agenda, not just the abstract, not just conceptualized concept. You need to realize that. Of course, digital agenda involved so many different complex aspects, so many different issues. But trading, especially cross-border trading, is one of the means for collecting taxation, for collecting tax for Bangladesh, for long-term economic growth. The reason why WCIT 2017, we added one subject, which was called Trade Facilitation of the WTO and the impact on digital transformation. Why we added that subject in WCIT 2017 this year? Because eventually we need to trade services and goods. Of course, Bangladesh is big enough. You may not need to rely on purely cross-border trading. In Taiwan, we are so small, so we are export-oriented economy. Bangladesh may not be, the export things may not be so important. But for make in Bangladesh, you need to export. You need to trade locally, but mostly if you can trade cross-border, that means you are more competitive, right? To go abroad, to move your goods abroad, more competitive. So AFECT is, as I said, liaised with the UNCFACT, taking all developed recommendations, standards, guidelines for enabling stakeholders in the ecosystem to do their job efficiently. Most important value of this recommendation and standardization is for government. Imagine in Bangladesh, the existing procedure, is that enough? Efficient? Is that effective enough? Are there many redundant documentation needed for handing to the authority in order to get only one little permission? Imagine that. If that is truth, you need to have trade facilitation procedure. Otherwise, you cannot be competitive enough. That's the only reason, very simple reason. But how to do that? How to realize that? Lots of things involved, as I just introduced you, because it is so complex. That involves not just your country, that involves another country. They have their own willing, they have their own rules, and you have yours. That causes trouble, that causes complexity. So that is why we both need to simplify our procedure. We both need to standardize and harmonize our data model, not just across the board, but within our own boundary. So many governmental agencies, you don't even talk with each other efficiently because you cannot exchange data at all. Not just your problem, we have also the problem. As mentioned yesterday, after 30 years in informationization, computerization, that's so many years, we still have data silo. It is not easy to conquer. We still have data silo among our agencies. But what if we didn't pursue this thing? The situation is even worse. So trade facilitation is so crucial for any society if we want to be competitive enough. Very, very crucial. But since it is so difficult, so complex, we really need to build up our capacity to cope with this complex problem. So lots of trainings provided by UNESCAP. So that is why I strongly suggest you get familiarized with these resources provided by UNESCAP. You are lucky enough to get these resources from UNESCAP. We in Taiwan, we are not the member of UN, so we cannot get any resources from UNESCAP. That's very sad, and you are lucky. So please make use of the advantage of UNESCAP, the UN Next. Lots of experts provided different kinds of training program. But one thing I would encourage you to consider, you really need to form some kind of steering committee for national single window, because that is the driving force in Bangladesh. UN national single window, you need to identify one responsible body. For example, the Ministry of Trade can be the lead of a national single window to drive, to coordinate different departments in Bangladesh. All necessary, all related organizations, departments and agencies in this ecosystem coordinate with each other so that they can cross-check the document submitted from each individual business. So back end, very busy, but front end, there's only one last mile service provisioning from the government to that shipper, to the applicants. So that's the essence. So effect is really important for Bangladesh. For tangible goods trade facilitation, we are going to have a subject maybe next year for e-trade, because e-trade is even more complex than tangible goods trading. Not just through internet for e-commerce, but also for pure digital trade. Very, very complex. But for Professor Abdullah's question, that is a very difficult question to answer, because we have many common laws provided by UNCITRAL based in Rome, and lots of regulations or recommendations provided by ICC, International Chamber of Commerce, and many other WTO and ITU, many international organizations providing, developing, publishing lots of different guidelines, rules to be followed. But each country needs to take its own initiative to adopt these common laws, customized according to the local environments, and make requests to be compliant with each other. So, for example, you may refer to European Commission's GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation. General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. It has the highest level of monitoring whether any foreign business against that GDPR, because they want to protect the privacy of European individuals, of European business. Okay. So if there's any disputes, they will check, they will use GDPR to map.
Actually, we are running short of time, so I would like to take one small question, if you have. Otherwise, yeah, just one question. Just the gentleman, bearded gentleman. Both are bearded anyway.
Okay, no problem. Actually, I found some opportunities about the discussion about Dr. Eva for the SMEs. So I would like to request, which we are involved in the SMEs, we would like to entrance the e-trade. So for us, kindly don't drop this matter, because in our country going on the big industries. But actually the SMEs are the fundamental of the country economy. If we example our near country India, their GDP and
so your question is how SMEs will be integrated here.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Eva, just for, yeah, she will along with the chair. Our chair is there. So this is you have something very important to say. Just one word.
Thank you, sir. আমি ফজলুল করিম, ঢাকা চেম্বার অফ কমার্স অ্যান্ড ইন্ডাস্ট্রি জয়েন্ট সেক্রেটারি। আমি ছোট্ট একটা বিষয়, এটা কিন্তু প্রশ্ন না, এটা জানা বা বোঝার শেখার জন্য, যে এফেক্ট যে অর্গানাইজেশনটা আমাদের সম্মানিত প্রেসিডেন্ট চেয়ার হয়েছেন, বা আপনি একজন সাবেক প্রেসিডেন্ট ছিলেন, এইটার দ্বারা যে আমরা বাংলাদেশের যে অন্যান্য সেক্টরগুলা কি উপকৃত হতে পারে, বিশেষ করে ট্যাগ বডিগুলা এই সংগঠনের সাথে সংযুক্ত হইতে কিনা, ঢাকা চেম্বার বা অন্যান্য চেম্বারগুলা, অন্যান্য অ্যাসোসিয়েটেড। ধন্যবাদ স্যার।
না, অ্যাকচুয়ালি তো এইটা হচ্ছে কি, আপনার মাল খালাস করতে কত তাড়াতাড়ি পারা যায়, এইটা যদি হয় তাইলে আপনারা উপকৃত হবেন না, প্রত্যেকটা ট্রেড বোর্ড এখান থেকে উপকৃত হবে। হ্যাঁ, আপনার প্রত্যেকটা, আপনার যদি আজকে 3 দিন লাগে, এটা যদি একদিনে আনা যায়, তাইলে আপনি যদি গাড়ির ব্যবসা করেন, সব ব্যবসা করেন, সবাই উপকৃত হবে। কথাটা কিন্তু খুব সহজ অ্যাকচুয়ালি। যাই হোক, হয়তো প্রেজেন্টেশনের একটু হেরফের থাকতে পারে। এনিওয়ে, তা আমার মনে হয় এখানে আমরা সরি আমি আর প্রশ্ন নিতে পারছি না, সরি আই এম ভেরি সরি about that.
Maybe later on we can discuss.
She will be here and আমি অত্যন্ত দুঃখিত. I cannot take more questions. So with that thing I would like to pass the floor to Mr. Ali Ashfaq, the EFFECT chair and BCS president and so forth.
Thank you, Dr. Iba, for your nice presentation. It's actually, subject is very complex. But what I understand from the session, I learned many things, but understand very little. What I understand is the simplification, the word. Actually, this word is necessary for everyone. We want simplification. Simplification means the process will be reduced, cost will be low. So also, what I understand, if we can identify something that simplify the whole trade process, it will help the most SMEs, big business enterprises, can handle their cost by the complex process. But all over the world now, we have to encourage the SMEs, very small business, and e-business, so that one person, one single man can do their business at home with a very minimum cost. But our system, not that process to implement. One single entrepreneur at home can sell 1, 2, 3, 4 items, their innovative items, on their entrepreneurs, they can start the business. But facilities are not in place. So what I understand from this scenario or from this presentation, we are moving towards the digital Bangladesh or digital nation, or we are building the digital process to make the thing simple, transparent and simple. So everywhere is simplification. Then if the process is not simplified and process is not digitalized, then what we are doing, that will be not in place, and that will be if the trade process and simplification is not in place, then it will be a big barrier. It will be a very big barrier, and we cannot go, we cannot cross the border, we cannot. Maybe we are in the room, we are thinking many things, we are giving many ideas, we are creating many things, we are innovating many things. Maybe it can die down on your home or on innovation on your table. Anyway, what I as a normal businessman and as a normal citizen, what I understand, this is very much necessary, and I'm very grateful to Dr. Eva to introduce these ideas in front of us. We are just start learning. If we can start learning and understanding the things, then maybe sometimes we can contribute here. And in the session, we are very grateful to Honorable Commerce Secretary and PD High Tech Park, Mr. Shafiqul Islam, because their presence is to glorify the occasion, because in fact you are the people who can help this trade facilitation and development, make the things easy for the business community, and we can go towards the digitalization. Thank you very much. for giving me the chance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vice President, for your words. It was like a Thanksgiving to our guests actually, and it's nice to see in that way. Anyway, we are also grateful for the nice presentation by the keynote speaker, and as well as the presence of the ED of High Tech Park and respected chief guest, Mr. Subhashish Bose, Secretary, Ministry of Commerce, and of course the professor from Selangor University, and not the least, all the audience. With those words, I would like to request today's respected chief guest, Mr. Subhashish Bose, Secretary, Ministry of Commerce, Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh, to make his chief guest speech. So, to Mr. Bose, please, Secretary.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to say a few words as the chief guest of this event. I'm very thankful to you all for inviting me to this event, and I am very happy and pleased to be here amongst you, because I think that this is an important event you have organized here. And I am also very pleased by the gracious presence of Dr. Eva, Professor Abdullah, Mr. Chair. He is the chair of the AFACT and also president of BCS. Okay, and the PD of the High Tech Park of the Government of Bangladesh, and the esteemed moderator. It's my honor to have the presence of a very large audience here this evening. Good evening to you all. I have actually heard a part of the keynote presentation, and I believe that there's an elaborate presentation given by Dr. Eva, and it has actually paved a way how we can do business in Bangladesh in the form of e-trade or e-commerce, etc. Because Bangladesh government has a policy of facilitating e-trade in the country. And the vision of the government is to make Bangladesh a digitalized one, a fully digitalized country, and to make the country a middle income one by the year 2020-21. And by the year 2041, we would like to become a developed country. But we have got something to do in order to achieve those targets. We have got sustainable development goals to achieve by the year 2030. And the 7th five-year plan of the government is completely aligned with the sustainable development goals and targets. What we are doing from the side of the government is to facilitate trade, because we find the procedure of doing business in Bangladesh is not that simple and easy, because in the index of ease of doing business, Bangladesh is not holding a very satisfactory position. The position of Bangladesh is 176th out of 191. So it's not a very important position held by Bangladesh. So we try to reduce the number, that is from 176 to, we want to make it less than 100 in 3 years' time. That is the target, and we are working towards that. And you will understand that the government has a policy of doing e-commerce, because we do not want to be limited to commodity trade only, because commodity trade has got a sort of volatility. The price of the commodities is very fluctuating in the international market. So what we have to do? We have to do business in services, so which is intangible one. As Dr. Eva mentioned in her presentation, this is an intangible service. We do not know the quality of the service. We cannot see the service, but we can feel the service. But we have to be standardized in terms of our service quality. We have to have very good degree so that we can provide our services in other parts of the world. Our professional service, our ICT service, ITES, etc. has to be recognized by other universities or professional bodies in other countries of the world. So we are working towards that end. What we have to achieve? We have to achieve the process of trade facilitation. The e-commerce has become a hot issue in the WTO. You understand that the 11th Ministerial Conference is going to take place in Argentina this year in the month of December 2017. We are taking part in this ministerial conference, and we understand that e-commerce would be an issue to be discussed by all the countries of the world, and Bangladesh will definitely raise its point. How to do that? What are the challenges of e-commerce? Because we have got some challenges, of course, because multinational companies will be present in our country. They have got economies of scale. So elimination of small businesses will be there. How to survive in that situation? How to withstand the pressure? And if there is e-business, what share of revenue will be taxed by the Bangladesh government? How we can capture the share of revenue of the multinational companies or international companies working in Bangladesh? That is a very big question for us. The revenue is very important for us because Bangladesh actually does the developmental works. On the basis of the revenue it is realizing from various sectors of the economy. But if we cannot realize revenue, or if we cannot capture the revenue which will be being earned by the multinational companies, then how to cope up with the revenue status of the country? That is a very big question for us. So that's why we are trying to be a issue for the government of Bangladesh, because we have taken steps by signing the framework agreement on cross-border paperless trade. So paperless trade, that means not trade without paper, but trade with less paper. That is the simplification of the procedures. We have actually implemented simplification of procedures in various offices of the government. So for example, in the Ministry of Commerce, I should cite the example of Ministry of Commerce. Ministry of Commerce, that is its agency, which is called Export Promotion Bureau. They are issuing certificates for export of goods from Bangladesh to the rest of the world. That is called Generalized System of Preference. So what we have done, we have actually introduced the system of applying for the certificates online, and we have reduced various steps in the process of issuing the certificate. You had to submit 9 documents for having a generalized system of preference certificate. But nowadays, you have to submit only 4 documents. And we can issue these certificates within 6 hours time, within 12 hours time, within 24 hours of time. You have got the option when you want to collect the certificate. So that kind of simplification has been made. And also with the Register of Joint Stock Companies of Bangladesh, you can submit an application for name clearance, and you can get the name cleared within 1 hour's time or within half an hour's time. And the process is very, very much simplified at this moment. You do not have to wait for 15 days or 20 days in order to have the certificate. So these are the systems we have now introduced in the country. The National Board of Revenue, they are introducing a system which is called the system of SI-CUDA. SI-CUDA is a universal system, of course, that has been adopted by many countries of the world, and there should be a countrywide single window process. Through the window, you can understand, or you would be able to have the facilities that would be provided to you by the National Board of Revenue. You would have harmonized system of codes, etc. You can have the tax rates, the customs rates, supplementary duty rates, etc. You can have a predictability of taking decisions, because if you do not know the supplementary duty what is to be imposed in the next year or which is in use this year, you cannot take a decision whether you will be bringing in some of the products from Taiwan or from other countries of the world. You do not know. So you should know that supplementary duty, customs duty, etc., what the government is trying to impose as corporate taxation, what will be the rate of corporate taxes for the British American Tobacco Company or different banks, financial institutions in Bangladesh, then you would be able to understand whether there would be a company that is a banking company from other countries relocated to Bangladesh. Because so many companies are there from other countries which are doing business in Bangladesh, like American Express Company, Standard Chartered Bank, Hong Kong, Shanghai Banking Corporation, etc. So many banks are working in Bangladesh. So that is the transfer of services from one country to another country. This is according to WTO mode. This is called third mode of the WTO. So we have also signed the Trade Facilitation Agreement in the WTO. That was ratified by Bangladesh in September 2016, and the Trade Facilitation Agreement has come into force in February this year. So Bangladesh is one of the members who earlier ratified the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement. Why Bangladesh has signed this agreement? It is because of the reason that Bangladesh wants to simplify the trade procedure, because there are so many measures in the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement. That means by our own resources. And there are some measures which we cannot implement with our own resources. Then we go for assistance, technical assistance or other assistances from the developed countries and developing countries. So we have classified the various measures by our National Board of Revenue, and they are categorizing all the measures, and we are going to submit the lists of the measures within a very short period of time to the WTO. And we are also going to get our trade policy reviewed in the year 2019 by the WTO General Trade Body, General Trade Council. So that is also for simplification of business. And we understand that Bangladesh government has asked the ITC, International Trade Center of the WTO, to provide technical assistance or training facilities to the unemployed youths of this country, because we understand that there are 2.5 million youths coming to the employment cycle every year. So it is not possible for the government of Bangladesh to provide them jobs. Rather, the private sector is not able to provide them with jobs. So how can they be employed? So they should be self-employed. And in order to enable them to become self-employed, training is necessary or skill development is necessary. So that is the way how we can develop skills in the youths. And we have asked for assistance from the ITC. We have also asked for assistance from the WTO EIF, so aimed at providing training or skill development, export competitiveness, etc. for least developed countries like Bangladesh. So we are going for those programs. And of course, Bangladesh government has got some kind of schemes like export promotion scheme introduced by the Export Promotion Bureau, because if you can find some contracts in the IT services or IT-enabled services, we may not need cross-border trade, but Taiwan needs cross-border trade. Yes, of course, we need exchange of data, because you see, in order to facilitate trade between India and Bangladesh, what should we do? We need to have exchange of customs information, tariff information, etc. We do not have that kind of information at this point of time. So our trade is being obstructed between the two countries. But we need electronic exchange of data between the two countries so that we can expedite the business. Because you see, the trade between Bangladesh and India is very high. The volume is very high. But our trade is less than the Indian trade, because two-way trade is around $7 billion US, but we are only exporting less than $1 billion US to India. I am not saying that it is always bad for us, but we have to enhance our trade. because we are importing capital machineries from India, we are importing essential commodities, daily necessities from India, we are bringing in raw materials from India. That's why we need to import more from India. But there is a dispute between the two countries sometimes, because sometimes India says that, okay, duty is imposed at a higher rate on our tiles because we have imposed the minimum import price on that product. It is because of the lack of information, because we do not have electronic exchange of data. That's why we have actually estimated the price of the tiles. So this is just an example. So what I understand is that the policy of the government is directed towards simplification of trade. That is the sum and substance of my speech. And I believe that Mr. Chair, who has actually participated in an event in Taiwan very recently, and I have actually received a report from him, and he appreciated the event that was organized by Taiwan, and for invitation to the government sector people in Bangladesh. And the event will again be organized in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh would be hosting that. I believe that it will create an opportunity for many people in Bangladesh, would-be entrepreneurs in Bangladesh, and we invite the entrepreneurs in the IT sector in Bangladesh in near future, because we are trying to expand the scope of our business to the services area. So I am not going to take long, and thank you very much for inviting me to this event again, and I would try to make myself available in similar events in the very near future. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chief Guest, for your informative, analytical, as well as throwing light on our dream, see greater, public participation in effect in days to come. Thank you very much once again. And now we are at the conclusion of the ceremony, of the seminar. Now the crest will be given to, first I would like to announce
Framework Agreement on Cross-Border Paperless Trade. So